Dwayne Zaba, publisher of Bragg About the Creek magazine, and I'm here with John Lajeunesse, Bragg Creek resident and founder of Banded Peak Challenge. John, tell us about the Banded Peak Challenge, please.
Okay, Dwayne. The Banded Peak Challenge is a fundraising event for Camp Horizon, and Camp Horizon is a camp near Bragg Creek where mostly children, but also adults with disabilities can go to connect with their friends and just have a great camp experience.
Okay.
So the Banded Peak Challenge is a fundraiser that I founded a little over 10 years ago. The upcoming event, it's an annual event, the upcoming event is the 11th annual event. And we climb a mountain, which you might see in the background here.
Yep.
Banded Peak, the one with the big ring around the top.
Absolutely.
And it's just a fun event. About 150 people per year participate in it. And to date, we've raised in the neighborhood of $350,000 over the past 10 years.
Outstanding.
For Camp Horizon.
All for the kids.
Yeah.
Or largely the kids.
Yeah.
What is it all about as a participant?
When it's sunny or when it's raining?
Let's paint a nice picture
here. It's a lot of fun regardless of the weather. We make adjustments for the weather if there is any poor weather. But we've generally had pretty good luck. I think probably 8 out of 10 years we've had good enough weather that a number of people have made it to the top. A few years we've had up to 150 people get to the top of the mountain. So everybody starts early in the morning and cycles in on nice mountain trails approximately 13 kilometers to what we call a mountain base camp. And then from there there's a hike to the summit off the mountain, which is about 5 or 6 kilometers. The total elevation gain for the bike and hike is in the neighborhood of close to 5,000 vertical feet.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So how arduous is this? I mean, I understand over the past decade you've had everyone from 6-year-olds to 80-year-olds participating in the event, but how physically challenging is it? In other words, I guess, how good a physical condition do you need to be? What's it like for a person in average physical condition?
Average physical condition would get you to the top or very close, but you actually don't need to train at all for the event if you don't want to. We have 9 camps set up along the way, and any participation to any one of those camps is appreciated. The idea is to raise money for the camp. So push yourself as hard as you want to. If you want to climb to the top, it's obviously a pretty big day, you know, maybe a 10-hour, 12-hour day.
Okay.
And we have people that do the entire event in 3.5, 4 hours, and then we have people that take 12 hours to do it. So I take 2 days.
So tell us about that. You obviously, tell us why you spend 2 days.
Well, I go in ahead to set up the trail. So the entire trail is marked with flagging and people. And we have, so I go in the day before to put pin flags all the way to the summit so nobody will get lost. And then we have, the event day, we have medical people on the trail, we have bicycle people on the trail, and we have guides at each of the camps, at each of the 9 camps along the way.
Inspirational guides?
Absolutely. They're very supportive.
So tell us about, you're obviously an avid climber. What inspired you to initiate the Banded Peak Challenge? I'd
often thought through my life that I didn't do much in the way of volunteering to help out in any capacity. I mean, everybody goes out maybe on the Terry Fox Run or gives a bit of money to a charity here and there, but the Banded Peak Challenge was something that fit for me. And I was inspired to get it started by Diana Gallivan, who is a past camp director and was a family friend. Diana came to the Chamber of Commerce in Bragg Creek 11 years ago and asked if there was anything we could do to help her raise money for the camp. And I was the secretary of the Chamber of Commerce at the time, and I went away from the meeting thinking about it, and the idea started to gel that I could maybe start some sort of a climb, some sort of a hike. And so that winter, a buddy and I, Matt Friesen, who's still involved as a volunteer, he and I went out that winter and tried to climb the mountain. And it took us 3 tries to get up, because obviously there was heavy snow and, you know, lots of issues, but we wanted to see if it was going to be doable for the summer. So eventually, sometime in late February, we managed to get in there, and over a 2-day period we climbed to the summit and realized there were no technical difficulties. So it looked like it might be a fit. At that point I invited 4 or 5 people from Bragg Creek to talk about it one evening up at Camp Horizon with Diana, and we decided that we could get something started. And so a fellow named Doug Sefton kind of picked up the ball and worked with me. He did a lot of the sort of computer work and advertising, and then I did a lot of fundraising, and together we managed to, and I did of course all the organizational things on the mountain, and arranged all the volunteers. So we have, every year we have at least 30 volunteers that help run the event. And Doug stayed involved for, I guess, 3 years, and then for you know, personal reasons, I guess he moved on to other things, and so, but I've continued on with it.
Fascinating story, really interesting inception. So that's all obviously the start of it. What? Tell us more about the history. What have you? What can you tell us about the history of the event? What challenges have you had over the past decade with the Banded Peak Challenge?
Well, physically we've had some challenges with weather. However, they haven't really, those things haven't affected how successful the event's been, because people still come out to donate. They fundraise before the event, and of course they're still engaged in that even if the weather's bad. As far as the challenges to get the event going, there were some challenges initially with the Park Service. It is in a wildlife reserve, or a wildland reserve.
Yep.
And there are environmentalists that would prefer that nobody ever goes into those areas. However, we've been very careful to maintain the trails and not to damage the environment.
Yep.
So I think they're pretty much on board with keep leaving us there. Luckily, the event started just before that area was made a wildland reserve, so it's kind of grandfathered the event into its present state. We did have some challenges early on with fundraising, and because nobody knew about it, so we had to educate people. Now we have groups that, you know, are on board with us every single year because they know what the event is, they know what to expect, and they want to be involved. Likewise, the people in Bragg Creek, more than any other group, have been incredibly supportive of the event. We have lots of families that come out every single year, bring their kids up. We've had 6-year-olds climb to the summit.
So what's your vision for the Banded Peak Challenge as it relates to the future?
Just that it would continue. It's kind of a small town event, and that's likely what it would stay as.
Okay.
And, yeah,
So
I don't have any grand visions
Okay.
for it. Just to carry on the way we have. It's something that, as I said, is a good fit for me. I love doing it, and I have lots of friends and lots of climbing friends that are very, very competent in the mountains that love to come out and help. And we've had, I've had a number of close friends come every single year. And I could name some of those, but you know, they've been incredibly supportive and have done, you know, as much work as me, just about pretty much.
Fantastic. If you had someone here that was saying, you know, I'm thinking about it, I don't know if I am really up for it, how would you encourage them to get out and do it?
Well, I think I'd reassure them that, I mean, a lot of people are maybe nervous about going out into the mountains and doing such a big thing because of issues with possibly wildlife that they may be worried about, or route finding, or you know, being so far out. But this event is set up to give you a feeling of comfort in climbing a big mountain. The mountain is almost 10,000 feet high. And a lot of people come out and they are incredibly impressed with the support we've got on the mountain. You know, you're always hiking or cycling with other people, and there's medical staff around. If there's a problem with your bicycle, there's somebody to help look after you. If you're tired or you need some extra clothing or some water, we have, you know, obviously we support ourselves with water bottles and so on, but we do have extra supplies to help people out. And people always come back with comments like they couldn't believe how well organized the event was, and it is really just a fantastic, fun thing to do, and it's a good cause.
And so what's it been like to work with Easter Seals Camp Horizon?
Oh, always fantastic. Yeah. The present camp director, Ana Garcia, is just a real sweetheart and has a big heart and is fabulous to work with. And actually all the past directors, Anna's been there now for a few years, I guess 3 or 4 years, but we've had maybe 3 directors over the time since we've been running the event, starting with Diana. And they've all been great people to work with. And everybody in that organization is just really pleasant, you know, and accommodating and supportive of this event. Yeah.
One last question, John. What's it like to stand on the top of a mountain like Bandit Peak? What does it feel like?
Empowering. It's fabulous. I'm a climber. I've climbed lots of mountains. None as often as Bandit Peak. I've been up there 12 times now, I think. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's great. I mean, you can see, obviously, you know, you're at almost as high as any of the mountains in the Rockies. So you can see Mount Assiniboine. There's a huge panorama of mountains that you can see and name up there. Quite often we've had beautiful sunny weather, calm wind, 30 people of us sitting around up there chatting, having drinks and sandwiches, and it's just a lot of fun. It's an incredible place to be. You can see Calgary clearly and see out onto the plains in every direction, and see weather patterns way off, you know, 50 miles away, and it's great.
Outstanding. Thanks very much for your time, John, and thanks for making a difference.